Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher known for his profound contributions to ethics, metaphysics, and epistemology, has left us with a legacy of philosophical wisdom. Here are 50 of his most notable quotes. 1. Dare to know. Have the courage to use your own intelligence. 2. Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe, the more often and the more intensely the mind of thought is drawn to them: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. 3. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. 4. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. 5. Morality is not the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. 6. Always recognize that human individuals are ends, and do not use them as means to your end. 7. Thoughts without content are empty, intuitions without concepts are blind. 8. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. 9. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. 10. All human knowledge begins with intuitions, proceeds from thence to concepts, and ends with ideas. 11. To be is to do. 13. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. 14. So act that your principle of action might safely be made a law for the whole world. 15. Rules for happiness: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. 16. He who is cruel to animals becomes hard also in his dealings with men. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. 17. Even philosophers will praise war as ennobling mankind, forgetting the Greek who said, "War is bad in that it begets more evil than it kills." 18. The starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. 19. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. 20. Act as if the maxim of your action were to become by your will a universal law of nature. 21. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. 22. Genius is the ability to independently arrive at and understand concepts that would normally have to be taught by another person. 23. All thought must, directly or indirectly, by way of certain characters, relate ultimately to intuitions, and therefore, with us, to sensibility, because in no other way can an object be given to us. 24. Nature is beautiful because it looks like art, and art can only be called beautiful if we are conscious of it as art while yet it looks like nature. 25. The greatest human quest is to know what one must do in order to become a human being. 26. Act only so that the will can regard itself at the same time as making universal law through its maxims. 27. To be is to think, and to be completely is to think well. 28. Immaturity is the incapacity to use one's intelligence without the guidance of another. 29. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. 30. Metaphysics is a dark ocean without shores or lighthouse, strewn with many a philosophic wreck. 31. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. 32. By a lie, a man annihilates his dignity as a man. 33. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. 34. Out of timber so crooked as that from which man is made nothing entirely straight can be carved. 35. Act as though the maxim of your action were to become a universal law of nature. 36. The only thing that can be called good, without qualification, is a good will. 37. It is beyond a doubt that all our knowledge begins with experience. 38. Give me matter, and I will construct a world out of it. 39. All human knowledge thus begins with intuitions, proceeds from there to concepts, and ends with ideas. 40. The greatest problem for the human species, the solution of which nature compels him to seek, is that of attaining a civil society that can administer justice universally. 41. Genius is the talent, natural gift, which gives the rule to art. 42. Tool to do evil is to lack virtue, to be unwilling to do good when you can is to lack courage. 43. A categorical imperative would be one which represented an action as necessary of itself, without any condition, as good absolutely, and would be expressed by an action as necessary of itself, without any condition, as good absolutely, and would be expressed by an action as necessary of itself, without any condition, as good absolutely, and would be expressed by an action as necessary of itself, without any condition, as good absolutely, and would be expressed by an action as necessary of itself, without any condition, as good absolutely. 44. Seek not the favor of the multitude, it is seldom got by honest and lawful means. But seek the testimony of few, and number not voices, but weigh them. 45. To renounce one's own good on account of the good of others is not a duty. 46. There is no harm in adopting this or that opinion for pleasure or even for some utility, and giving expression to it. We must not, however, abandon our belief in the immortality of the soul, how serious a matter this is. 47. Our human reason is the faculty of universal rules. 48. Science is organized knowledge. 49. Nothing is divine but what is agreeable to reason. 50. All thought must, directly or indirectly, by way of certain characters, relate ultimately to intuitions, and therefore, with us, to sensibility, because in no other way can an object be given to us.